This week on What in the World is Going On, the U.S. changes vote from no to abstaining on granting Palestinians right of return to Israel. That's the headline. We got a lot to talk about, so stay tuned, friends. We, the Friends of Israel Gospel Ministry, reported that on November 11th, informing you that the United States toed the line during a critical UN vote on Wednesday, November 10th, changing its vote from no to abstaining on a measure which said that the Palestinian refugees and their descendants have the right of return and settle in modern-day Israel. We went on to further report to you that the vote marked a significant departure from previous U.S. votes on such matters, which garnered an automatic no in support of the Jewish state during the 4 years of the Trump administration. And once again, friends, think what you want about President Trump, but what his administration did by voting no to this unrealistic UN resolution, well, friends, it was the right thing to do. Because what the UN is striving for is complete and utter nonsense, and it's dangerous to the state of Israel. You see, friends, when Israel declared independence in 1948, after the UN resolution in 47, 5 Arab countries came against Israel, and they came with 600,000 well-trained soldiers who were well-armed and well-equipped with hundreds of tanks and planes, and they came across a mere 60,000 Jewish soldiers, a newly formed army made up of both men and women, including many Holocaust survivors. Not everyone even had a gun, and they only had a couple tanks and a few planes that Czechoslovakia sold them. And friends, they faced 10-1 odds with help from nobody. And the Arab forces at that time urged all Arabs living there to leave so that they could really finish what Hitler started. And they said, our bullets can't differentiate between you and a Jewish person, so leave. And when we finish them all off, well, then you can return. And so many fled. Some 600 to 800,000 fled. And they fled to Jordan and to Lebanon and to Syria. And friends, when Israel won the war against 10-1 odds, as God gave them the victory, did these Arab countries absorb the Arabs that fled into their own society? Oh no, quite the opposite. They left them, friends, in those squanderish refugee camps even to this day. Why? Simple. Because they're used as pawns to make Israel look like the bad guy. With UNRWA employing a huge amount of workers, all with full pensions to look after this mess, this situation. And it's quite a situation, and it's quite a mess to this day, as the 600,000 to 800,000 that fled in 1948, friends, have grown now to over 6 million, of which the UN wants to give them all a right of return. Friends, that would tip the balance in Israel, making it a very dangerous situation for the Jewish people. And Trump and his administration, knowing this, unanimously voted no to the resolution, and rightfully so. Whereas now the Biden administration, well, friends, they continue to shift the United States' stand and support for the Jewish nation. Also, friends, I'd like to remind everyone here that there were more Jewish refugees in 1948 fleeing Arab countries to Israel who were then absorbed by the newly formed Jewish state. And yet there is never a mention of a right of a return or compensation for those Jewish people who fled. No, friends, it seems it's only for the Arabs who rejected the offer of a two-state solution. And yet Israel, always defending itself, is made out to be the bad guy. And you know what I say? Woe unto the Biden administration, and woe unto the world who come against God's chosen people. So really, if the Democrats want to establish peace in the Middle East, stop this nonsense. Get behind the Abraham Accords and continue with the progress that the former administration had achieved. And then stand up against Iran and stand up against Hezbollah and Hamas, these terrorist proxies of Iran. And then, friends, stand and support the Jewish people, the apple of God's eye. Because at the end of the day, friends, at the end of the day, the God of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps, and he has promised to bless those that bless the Jewish people and curse those that curse them. And so, friends, with that, And until next time, this has been What in the World is Going On with the Friends of Israel Gospel Ministry. Have a great night, everyone.